From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the morning news for April 14th, 2025. The measles outbreak in West Texas didn't happen just by chance. The easily preventable disease, declared eliminated in the United States in 2000, ripped through communities sprawling across more than 20 Texas counties, in part because health departments were starved of the funding needed to run vaccine programs, officials say. We haven't had a strong immunization program that can really do a lot of the boots on the ground work for years, said Catherine Wells, the health director in Lubbock, a 90-minute drive from the outbreak's epicenter. Immunization programs nationwide have been left brittle by years of stagnant funding by federal, state, and local governments. In Texas and elsewhere, this helped set the stage for the measles outbreak and fueled its spread. Now, cuts to federal funding threaten efforts to prevent more cases and outbreaks. Health departments got an influx of cash to deal with COVID-19, but it wasn't enough to make up for years of neglect. And on top of that, trust in vaccines has eroded. Health officials warn the situation is primed to get much worse. Recent cuts by the Trump administration have pulled billions of dollars in COVID-19 related funding, $2 billion of it slated for immunization programs for various diseases. Overseeing the cuts is Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who rose to prominence leading an anti-vaccine movement. While Kennedy has said he wants his agency to prevent future outbreaks, he's also declined to deliver a consistent and forceful message that would help do so, encouraging people to vaccinate their children against measles while reminding them it is safe. At the same time, lawmakers in Texas and about two-thirds of states have introduced legislation this year that would make it even easier to opt out of vaccines or otherwise put up barriers to ensure more people get shots, according to an analysis by the Associated Press. That further undercuts efforts to keep infectious diseases at bay, health officials said. The more than 700 measles cases reported this year in the U.S. have already surpassed last year's total. The vast majority, more than 540, are in Texas, but cases have popped up in 23 other states. 2 Texas children have died. A 6-year-old from Gaines County, the center of the outbreak, died in February, the first measles death in the U.S. in a decade. An 8-year-old girl from the same town, Seminole, died earlier this month. In other news, as the Christian world commemorates Holy Week leading up to Easter Sunday, the State Department has issued an appeal for its employees to report instances of alleged anti-Christian bias, including formal or informal actions due to opposition to vaccines or personal pronoun choice that may have occurred during the Biden administration. The call comes amid heightened fear and anxiety in the American Diplomatic Corps, which is bracing for a new update on the Department of Government Efficiency-inspired budget and staff cuts that is due to be presented to the White House on Monday. That update is expected to include the State Department's latest estimates of voluntary retirements and separations and how these will affect potential future layoffs to meet benchmarks from Elon Musk's Doge and the government's Human Resources Agency, according to officials familiar with the process. But these officials who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss personnel matters said the update to the White House Office of Personnel Management would not be the final word on the reorganization of the State Department, and they denied speculation amongst the rank and file that Secretary of State Marco Rubio had refused to sign off on the document. And finally, we leave you with this news about the Interior Secretary and cookies. Out MSNBC host Rachel Maddow could not contain her laughter regarding allegations that Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum has a diva problem. Multiple sources recently told The Atlantic that Burgum requires his staff, political appointees meant to help run the office, to regularly provide freshly baked cookies for him and his guests. Burgum reportedly directed his staff to learn to use the industrial ovens at the department headquarters, and according to 3 different sources, on at least one occasion, a political appointee was told to remake the cookies because the batch was, quote, subpar. What did they do with the old cookies, Maddow mocked? What was wrong with them? Is there anything you could do to cookies that would be that bad? Now there are sources from the Department of Interior that are defending Secretary Burgum here. Maddow continued, noting explicitly in their pushback to the Atlantic that staff members are not required to make this cookie dough themselves. It is store-bought cookie dough that they only need to bake. So ease up, people, she joked. Among other bizarre behaviors, the report also accused Burgum of asking political appointees to act as wait staff for a multi-course meal and demanding that all labels be removed from bottled water before they were given to him. His office has denied the behavior, saying that everyone knows Secretary Burgum always leads with gratitude. Undoubtedly, he does. Wow. Just wow. Anyway, that's the president, the regime's cabinet, and the news at this hour. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to be able to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. And now, back to more music on PEP Radio.